job to go in the wall, a hurl, a stick in a shinty bowl, the brick, the brack, the crack, and all. Let's call it an Irish pub. Caffrey's on, Kilkenny, a pound, the Guinness, pint, a cabbage, crap, the I don't want to be paddy trap. We'll call it an Irish pub. While I'll be fucked to swear.
Welcome to episode 1 of the Pubcast. My name is Brendan O'Neill, and I would normally be joined by Mike Cross and Michelle Riley. But in these first few episodes, we are revisiting our previous podcast, Boardwalk Breakdown. Basically, we're shutting down the Boardwalk Breakdown podcast and moving those 13 episodes over here so we can keep them alive and well in our archives. So, the Pubcast is our new podcast where we'll talk about all kinds of stuff and not be limited to only talking about Boardwalk Empire. And it will actually begin on episode 14. So just consider these first 13 episodes as bonus content. Sláinte. Welcome to the Boardwalk Breakdown podcast featuring Michelle Riley, Mike Cross, and me, Brendan O'Neill. If you have any comments or questions, you can contact us on Twitter at Boardwalk Break. Enjoy the show. All right, episode 7, Friendless Child. We again have a full house. Michelle's back from her 1 week hiatus from the podcast. Say hello.
Welcome back.
This episode... Libyans. This episode, unlike the previous couple, does not start off directly off of the previous.
Took note of that
right.
Since we made mention of it.
Right. Yeah. So that was kind of a cool little twist. This one opens with I believe it's either a real one or based on a real one. Yeah. The radio broadcast by the U.S. Attorney Robert Hodge.
It was
the
a newsreel type of thing.
Yeah, newsreel type of thing. It's Will's boss talking about basically how we're at war with the organized crime syndicate of the northern East Coast. Pretty cool. I thought that was a nice little period touch. I thought that was good. Yeah,
and it was a great way to turn up the heat a little bit in terms of... You know, we're so...
A little foreshadowing, yeah.
Well, that, but also you're so into, like, the personal stories, and it was a great way to kind of turn it up and say, oh, yeah, these guys are all dealing with the law, too.
Yeah, so, and that's one of the things I mentioned a couple episodes ago, that there's no law enforcement to be seen. I mean, there's FBI here and there, but not really, and there's no cops. This sort of ratchets it up, saying that... the cops are all over this, and it's a war. That was pretty. I thought that it was typical of the period. Then we go to Nucky.
And Nucky was just a sad.
Nucky was at his most vulnerable.
Absolutely.
This episode.
So I want to just before we get into this, since I wasn't here last
what did we miss?
No, you didn't miss anything. I wanted to ask you a question. So I was listening to the podcast after you recorded it because I was not with you, and when I was listening to you guys talk about Nucky's just descent into that bar, what the hell was that?
We didn't.
I mean,
we never get it.
We never didn't on the podcast. I'm wondering a week later, have you given it?
No, I actually thought about it from the time we did the podcast until Sunday, and then I forgot about it from there. But it's I was trying to figure out what the tie was going to be. It just seemed like a non
sequitur, and I mean, you knew he was going to get rolled. I knew he was going to get rolled from the minute he started talking to her.
When you saw that woman, you're like, all right, this is not a real encounter.
But the fight with the guy, that was like the most anticlimactic thing I've ever seen in my life. There was nothing. I don't know what the significance was of the guy or the fact that they went to blows.
That we came up with was that
he
was fighting his father in that guy.
Yeah, that's
all we got out of that. But the whole
and then the chicks. What would that
drunken Nucky slumming it, trying to show that he can be the guy he used to be when he was young.
I don't know. I think it was
the sewer rat type guy.
I think it was just like he hates himself so much that's what
I guess.
Was he beating up his father or was he beating up himself?
Yes.
Yes.
I think it was more of a self-loathing.
Yeah.
loathing
It was a combination of
like,
the two.
I gotta go just dwell in the...
His reaction to, like, depression, basically.
But I will say this about that whole segment. It was 15 minutes that we probably could have used on other things that would have been more vital.
Yes, that's true in a lot of ways. I agree with you on a lot of things. It seems like they've made some odd choices about what they choose to.
That's my argument for this whole season.
Okay.
And actually, we'll get into it later. But the thing with what's
Maranzano?
No, Mickey Doyle's
Joel.
That thing seems really crazy to
There's
me.
got to be a payoff.
There's got to be a
finale,
payoff,
right?
But I mean, there's an inordinate amount of attention to bring this guy in at the end. Anyway.
But we had that theory out there.
And I agree with the theory. But anyway, getting
theory.
back to that, I just thought that I still can't really get what was up with that. But he really descended into depression. And then obviously, as you open up now, B, on this show, whoa, we are in the deep, dark pit of depression. This show was incredibly sad to me.
Yeah, the whole thing was sad, top to bottom.
I will say that of every episode so far this season, and there have been some down moments, this was the darkest.
It was dark.
Yeah. It was beyond down. It was beyond sad.
Well, there was
really
like, Nucky was really losing on all fronts on this one.
But that said, we knew we were getting here. We just didn't know it was all going to be in one episode. Like, we knew...
Maybe that was part of the shock and awe.
Most of those parts we knew were going to happen in some form or another.
Right, but I think the shock of it was getting, one solid hour of sheer...
Oh, my God.
Okay. When you guys say you knew we were getting here, are we... Maybe we should save this for later, but are you predicting an ending?
No. I'm not, based on what I just said.
I have a prediction, but it's not based on this conversation.
All right. Yeah. I retract that statement. We're moving on. So, Nucky.
Nucky meets with Maranzano in his burlesque club. Nucky is fire and brimstone. I want to take down Luciano. So Nucky wants to take down Luciano. He wants to fight fire with fire. He wants to be proactive and get rid of his biggest enemy at the moment.
Right. He's decided it's time to go to war.
Maranzano is sitting back saying, all that happens as it should. And we're playing a game of chess here. And Nucky's like, I've played chess. I've never had an opponent try to kill me. So Nucky wants blood right now when it comes to Luciano.
He's about 2 steps too late. He should have put this dog down a couple of weeks ago. Because now he's
had
gonna
opportunities.
Get bit.
Yeah. He's passed.
And they talk, and Nucky brings up, like, between the two of us, they've killed 19 men. We've lost upwards of $1 million in revenue. Let's act. And Maranzano keeps preaching patience. What is up with this guy? I thought he was like the boss of bosses. I thought he was supposed to have the iron hand. Apparently not. This character, I thought, was confusing. I thought he was a bigger Don, for lack of a better term. I thought he was a bigger force. He's being so passive in this episode.
Well, he's being passive and he's being played on all fronts, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I actually looked up the real, like what the deal was with this guy, and apparently Bugsy killed him. Which the story in real life he's
different in the episode, but actually he killed him in a similar way to the way it was.
Right, like I guess this show just took advantage of it happening this way.
So yeah, Maranzano is just a wet noodle for me. I like, dude, you got to step up and do something. What, you're under attack by your own lieutenant or whatever. Yeah.
Right. So then he goes and he gets Bugsy, who is just over the top in this episode.
Yeah.
But that was Benny Siegel as he was known.
I mean, I guess yes. I guess that was his
reputation.
reputation.
He was a loose cannon live wire.
I thought it was. I wish this had come up earlier in the season. That Bugsy, Benny Siegel, is such a thorn in the shoe of Lucky and Meyer Lansky. They're so fucking annoyed with him. He's such a pain in the ass.
Right.
I love their hatred of him. Like when they answer the phone, they're like, "Fuck you," and they hang up on him.
Right.
We're getting ahead of ourselves,
But that was definitely that's like a Joe Pesci thing.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
you know,
Like,
where he
I don't believe you're
they're
kidnapped.
Always like, ugh, we got to deal with this
I
guy,
know.
like the maid.
What?
He's supposed to be part of their inner circle, and he's just a jerk off.
Yeah. So anyway,
But he's not. I think he's just an annoying character who has tremendous amount of power
At
and
this-
volatility.
At this time, he's a
this
jerk
point,
off.
he's
Yeah.
a jerk.
right. So Nucky, goes and kidnaps Bugsy.
Well, but how does he do it? Bugsy is at some Fleabag sort of apartment,
In the
given
neighborhood.
Giving it to a guy's wife.
with a lady,
A lady.
just a nobody's wife that he knows apparently, or knows of apparently in some way. Giving her a nooner, and on the way out meets the husband, signs autograph,
Yeah.
and then Sean, some nondescript henchman of Nucky's,
Right.
Sean, Mickey, who's in the car outside, and Archie.
Yep.
Archie's the name of Nucky's bodyguard.
That's
Archie.
Oh yes.
Archie is short for Archimedes. That's a great name. It's an insane name for a human hitman, but that's a good, solid name. I like
That
that
is a
one.
great name.
So these guys go in. They shoot at Bugsy, get him in the leg. He fights him off. Sean gets a bullet in his head. Fantastic little fight. And Archie, with his little knife, doesn't take his ear off, but holds him down, and he captures Benny
Bugsy.
Siegel.
Right.
But the whole thing backfires on Nucky.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So
Because
little
Lucky, when he goes to try to play his hand, Lucky says,
I got a prize for you.
yeah,
yeah.
I'll see you at the...
He's kidnapped by Nucky. They call Lucky. At first, they blow it off like, you're an idiot. Get back down here.
Hurry up.
Hurry up. They hang up on him. Then Nucky calls back. They start talking to him, and they hang up on Nucky, saying, we're not doing a deal. Kill him. I don't care.
Right.
They don't care about Bugsy, or they pretend not to care about Bugsy.
Right.
It's a strong play by these
It
upstart
was a
Italian...
strong play.
Yeah.
But it also showed that they were by far the bigger gangster. I
They-
mean, at
yeah.
every play, they were the bigger
First of all, they knew that Nucky would not kill
Right.
Benny Siegel.
Right.
Because that would have been the end of everybody.
Right.
Right.
Whether they detest Benny Siegel or not is...
Well, they didn't detest him.
Well, not to test, but if he annoyed the shit out
They're
of them or
annoyed by
not,
that asshole.
they're not going to whack one of their. They're not going to let one of their own guys get whacked without it being all out war, right? So,
Right. I mean, that would definitely be a point of no return.
So,
Well,
I think that was part of it. It wasn't just so much the annoyance. It was just like, yeah, right. You're not going to kill him.
No, he was just playing the hand with Nucky, and he bluffed
Right.
him, and well, he didn't bluff him, but I mean, he was
Yeah.
pushing back.
and Nucky tries to arrange a meeting. Like, let's talk about this. Let's work it out.
As
and
gentlemen,
they hang
yeah.
up on his ass. And it's you really see Luciano flexing his gangster muscles in this
yeah,
one.
and he's got him all right.
He's the alpha dog compared to Nucky, which is way different than
The first 4.5 seasons have been.
Right.
Here's where I really stood up and took notice in this episode was the fact that at that point I realized that this was unraveling to a point where
Yeah, oh, yeah.
nothing was coming back to the way it was.
Yeah.
It was never going to be the same.
this world is different than
Yeah,
before.
this is way beyond anything, and it was alluded to in the past when you saw the Italians talking, like we're going
Right.
to have Chicago and we're going to have New
Right,
York,
they were gonna
and they're like, well,
unionize.
what about and then we'll have Atlantic City, and they said, well, Nucky Thompson's not Italian. They said, well, Charlie Luciano's going to take care of that,
Yeah.
right? That and because I think Nucky's been built up with us throughout the series,
Yep.
throughout the 4.5 seasons, you get to that point where you're like, this guy's invincible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, every turn he's got an answer. Well,
In the viewer's eye, Nucky is the center of this story.
right, he's the
but
universe.
he's not.
He's
Right.
certainly not anymore. And
Yeah.
the dark part about this for me is that this is a real changing of the guard.
Yep.
Yes, I would agree with you, and that's kind of been the way they have portrayed
Yeah.
Lucky all season, and the actor has done a tremendous job. I mean, a tremendous job. He even looks different.
He's got that little scar on his eye coming down his side.
Right, but I mean his posture.
Yeah.
He looks taller. He looks older.
Holding himself
different. He looks totally different, and he's intimidating.
See a guy we can get? He'd
No.
be a good get. No.
Tried.
Okay.
So at the end of this little exchange of trying to set it up, before the actual meeting is set up, we'll get to that in a second, Margaret calls Nucky.
Yeah, the one and only appearance.
The one and only appearance, super duper important. I think this is an overlooked, ultra important part of this episode.
I don't think it's overlooked.
Well, but
yeah,
it was
small.
It was small.
Small,
It was small.
yeah.
I think it was small but very important play.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
This, to me, obviously holds huge importance for the finale
right.
and Nucky's future. Margaret calls saying, "Oh, I wanted to confirm that we are shorting 50,000 shares of Mayflower Grain Corporation stock." He's like, "Yeah, sure, fine. Short 50,000 more in the morning."
right.
And by the way, Margaret, if you have any money left over in your little squirrel away
Wherever
somewhere,
it is. Yeah.
I laughed at that.
do that
I
as
like
well.
that. I
I was
that.
like, "Do you think you need to tell her,
Right.
sweetheart? She's got this. She's got
already
this way
right.
ahead of the game."
She's probably shorted 60,000.
Yeah.
Right.
she's all
She
over it.
probably did. Yeah.
And she plays it off like, "Oh, I'll make my own decisions," but she's on board. She's got her
Totally.
own. She knows
She's
where
been
she's
making
headed.
money this
She has her
time.
own agenda. She's doing her own thing.
I can't wait to see how that works out.
This little dance that her and Nucky are playing, I actually really enjoy. Mm-hmm. Considering the fact that
I think it's good.
Margaret hasn't always been one of my favorite characters.
Me neither. But this is interesting.
But this is, now she's turned into the woman that I think Nucky wanted to build her into, and that's another avenue you can go down. That
Right.
she was built to be this woman by Nucky over the course of these
Yep.
15 years of the show, or 12 years of the show.
I would actually argue that she had it.
Well,
the
she
whole
probably
time.
did
Yeah.
have
Oh,
it
yeah.
the whole time, but someone needed
Right.
to pry that out
Right.
of her, right? Pry the
Yeah.
dark side out,
Yep.
and it was done. Remember when we met her? She was just a praying Catholic.
Well,
She had a wit to her.
always was a
She had a-
beaten woman.
Two sides to it.
She had a wit to her, and
Yeah.
she had intelligence, but she seemed more broken at the beginning, and now she seems like
Yeah.
she's gathering more strength.
Well, her husband was dead.
Exactly. So one of the sub scenes that I want to talk about in the early part of we meet Nucky and he's talking to Maranzano and whatever, is his interaction with Joel,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mickey Doyle's lackey.
Yep.
Mickey tries to give the kid a gun
Yeah.
to be part of this brewing battle with Luciano and whoever.
Henchman.
That's. I think that may come back.
Right.
Yeah.
So Mickey gives this kid a gun, saying, strap up, you're part of this war, let's go.
Strap up.
He's got a little bit of... he's got that going on. Nucky sees it out the corner of his eye and stops it immediately, pulls the gun out of the kid's hand and says, you're not part of this. Hands it back to Mickey.
Yeah. So, again, boiling us to the point where this is Jimmy Darmody's kid. This is Jillian's grandson. Yeah, Jillian.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jillian's grandson. That's coming to... next week, there's so much that's going to happen, so much that needs to happen, that I'm even willing to start taking, building a betting chart on when stuff's going down, right? Because I
But-
think in the first 12 minutes we're going
Yeah.
to find out.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Him taking the gun away from Joel is not just him taking the gun away from
Joel. Some kid.
from Jimmy's
Right.
son or whatever we think it is. It's him preventing this kid from getting involved into this bad world too heavy.
It's an age-old thing.
It's Nucky taking the gun away from young Nucky.
Right.
It's him preventing another kid from getting corrupted by this whole process.
It's the age-old gangsterism of the next generation
I
is going to
wish
be
someone
different than me.
would have taken that gun away from me
right.
back then.
So
Well,
I'm gonna-
and that's what I mean. I'm sure, B, you're probably not ready to go down this
Go
road.
ahead.
But when Eli appears back in town,
yeah.
and he sees Will on the street,
Yeah.
I
Same-
really,
same thing.
I really love that line. He looked horrible, and Will finally was like, "Listen, can I give you some money? Can I do something for you?" And there was a very long pause,
Yep.
and I really liked what he said. He said, "Well, I just like to see that you're on the right side of the street." And
make
that's
sure that
another
you're
one of
doing
those,
okay.
just like, and so that's when I sort of like, well, okay, we had suspected that maybe there was a double cross in the works with Will, and no, maybe he is just trying to go straight. Maybe it's just that simple.
Yep.
But it's the same thing. Those both of them had those moments with the younger guy.
They realize they're far down the wrong path, and they want to prevent the next generation.
Well, look at the shit show they're living in right now.
In the
Don't go
parallel,
down that path.
the parallel between the Joel and Nucky scene and the Will and Eli scene,
Yeah, exactly.
were unbelievably. I
Yeah.
caught that right. I caught onto that right away. I'm like, this is so symbiotic and so. I mean, it's boilerplate in a lot of these gangsterism or gangster type situations. With the next generation is going to be better than this. They're not going to have to shoot. They're not going to have to.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
we're going to create a
the
business. It's a Corleone's, right?
Right.
We're going to build a business, and every time I try to get out, they keep pulling me back in. So,
Michael, I didn't want this for you.
I didn't want this for you.
Right, and I mean, it's the same.
Senator Corleone. Governor Corleone.
Saying the same thing a different way, which is just to say,
Come on, you're shitting on my first impression of the entire podcast. Let's all.
oh my god,
Let's all appreciate.
take a
That's not your
moment.
first.
No,
That's your Marlon
You've done
Brando.
Mickey Doyle.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
Anybody seen a pie cooling on my windowsill?
All right. Next.
No, but I
Keep
mean,
going.
I do love the.
It's I think it also
classic.
helps them justify what they've done. So I'll be a monster. I'll be happy to take that in order to
Let me take the
say
bullet.
At
Let
least
me,
it wasn't in vain because this guy is gonna.
Well, and I think that plays true for Eli. It really does. I mean, Will is.
Well, we don't know yet. But,
Well, look.
you would hope so. Yeah.
But here's the thing: no matter what happens
they
with
thought
Will,
that was gonna
whether
happen
Will
to
takes
Michael too, right?
with whatever happens with Will, I mean, if he takes 2 bullets in the neck or he, comes back to life as this DA,
So-
it's going to be he's going to be a better person or in a better place than Eli is.
Directly after
Let's
that
hope.
good lord, after that scene with Will, I thought immediately after Eli would get plugged. He'd be
Yeah, I
done.
kind of did because that felt
thought
like
he
a
was done.
goodbye. That felt like an exit.
Yeah, that
It
was his
did.
out, right?
It did.
Instead, Will gets captured by Luciano's guys.
Right.
The tit for tat for Bugsy.
Yeah.
Right. Which I think we need to revisit. I mean, he definitely. Okay, so they go through that exchange. They go to the meeting, right?
Oh, wait, you want to go there already?
Oh well,
You're
all
getting
right.
way ahead of yourself there.
I mean, we can, but that's the
No, please, yeah,
a climax. I
we'll get
guess.
there.
I want to introduce a bit of the flashback. Young Jillian at Nucky's.
Yes,
So she's there. She's asking.
that was making That's another layer of sadness. To
It's
this
the
whole
sadness,
thing.
right?
Geez,
It's the saddest.
So sad.
The saddest story.
It's awful.
Nucky's asking Jillian, where you learn these proper manners, where you became who you are. How did you learn all this stuff? She's very well read. She's very proper. She knows the right way to act. Yet she is this thief.
Right.
How all this happened? And he throws a line out that while I'm watching it, I had to pause it and look back at my notes from previous episodes. I'm like, someone said this before. I know someone said this before. Nucky says, everybody comes from somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that sounds very familiar to something someone said in a previous episode. It was last episode, episode 5, when young Nucky says to Mabel's father, every story has a beginning.
Right.
Everyone comes from somewhere. I think that's a theme in Nucky's life.
Right.
Is that I wasn't always this half gangster, half politician, or full gangster, whatever I am now. I came from something that changed me. I grew from that. Right? And he's talking to Jillian, like the young Jillian. Uh-huh. You're not this robber. You're not this thief. Where'd you come from? He means literally, where'd you come from? The orphanage.
Right.
But how did you get to where you are?
Right.
And that never is exactly shown. But she's very well mannered, very well educated, and Nucky chooses to help her, despite his want to let her go.
Right.
And I thought that was interesting, is that she is an orphan, we believe. I'm still not 100% sure if that is the case. I mean, it's all presumed, and it kind of plays itself out. There's no time to play anything else out.
And I don't think those things were heavily legislated at the time.
Right. But was she an orphan, or was she just sort of on the
Right.
street? I don't know. She says,
Depression.
where she's from, Trenton, and she gives the address, but there's nothing there apparently, or no home there, or something to that effect. So she could have been just a kid on the street. I don't know. Anyway, I thought that was telling because Nucky is empathizing with Jillian's situation. Yeah,
But then later,
Yeah.
he definitely, it's his wife that
Right.
really wants to see this through. And he, at every opportunity, is like, we've got to get rid of this. And I thought that was a little strange. Like,
keeps
why
saying-
did he want to get
it's
cut?
weird.
He took her in, and then why did he want to cut her loose so bad?
He keeps saying you can only
Especially when
help
she was
so
so
much. You
happy.
can only help so much. I can't do everything for her. I can only help this much. Why?
Why? I thought the same thing. Why?
And Mabel wants to keep her, or at least help her in
Right.
a more significant
I
way.
didn't get why she was twisting his arm so badly, and he was not acquiescing at all. What's the big deal? They were having a baby.
Yeah. So when in this storyline, let's continue this for a little while. Young Nucky's talking to Mabel, or talking to Jillian, and Jillian brings up Mabel. Let's get to that in a minute. Jillian brings up Mabel, and she says, and Jillian's asking Nucky, please don't take me back to the orphanage. Let me stay here. Let me work for you. Let me work for the school. Let me do whatever it is. Let me help out in some way, earn my keep.
Yeah.
Then she says that Mabel is so scared of something. Mabel is scared of something. And Nucky's like, when did she say that? She's like, you can see it. She's scared of something. Mm-hmm. What's that something? I think that was a significant moment.
I don't know what
Is
it is.
she scared she's losing the baby? Is she scared that Nucky is in with the wrong crowd already? Commodore and whoever. Is she scared that I don't know what?
I have no idea.
These are great questions.
Right.
I don't even have a theory
Good.
on that,
Good.
but
I don't either.
do see that. I do think it was a pivotal moment.
Because it was weird because it was never addressed. And
There's
why would
a
you
lot
say
of stuff
that?
that is never addressed.
Why would you say that Mabel is scared of something? And I've watched this twice, so I'm confident in that. That has to play a role next time. Anyway, on this storyline, Sheriff Lindsay comes knocking.
Yeah, that was weird.
He takes Nucky to the Commodores, saying, "It's
I'm
late.
done. I'm out."
We've got official business. No uniform needed. Just come with me." They get there, and Lindsay talks about how I worked for Nucky. I worked for the Commodore. I did this and that for him. He saw me as a reliable man, and he's clearly disgusted at what is happening or about to happen or has happened. And then he goes, "Here is opportunity for you, Nucky." Hands over his badge. Walks into the sunset. I mean, gets his little buggy and he's gone.
Right.
Now Nucky's the man in
Right.
charge of whatever is going to happen inside that house.
Right.
Super creepy.
It was super creepy because this guy who
Even before he gets inside, it's super creepy.
right, the guy has been portrayed as such a bright light in a show that has very few of them, and
Yeah.
he was decent and obviously so endearing when he's had the scene with him bringing the young Nucky home.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden to say there's something so sinister going on here, and unfortunately this man has now been tarnished by it. So much so that he has to quit. I mean, that's just creepy.
Right. Sheriff Lindsay sees something terrible happening.
Right.
He doesn't want any part of it. I'm going to quit. Why does he bring Nucky to Commodores?
Well, because Nucky had asked for it.
He'd asked. That's
he
why.
asked for it. And he was
He asked for
obviously
it in a very
grooming him.
specific
Right.
way. In a
But
very specific
Lindsay
way.
is his, up until now, his
No.
protector.
No,
Nucky's made it
No.
clear what he wanted.
I disagree that
Yeah.
he's his protector.
Really?
Disagree.
He brought him into his house for family dinner, showed him
think-
what a caring family is.
But is he?
He's his mentor.
But is he what he portrays himself to be? No, he has been the Commodore's
right. He's done all this badness
slave
for years.
trade runner,
right?
And he goes home and he has these really happy dinners with his really weird fucking kids,
Right.
And his really Stepford wife, right?
Right.
And
Yeah,
in the meantime,
I guess so.
he's doing a sex slave trade thing with the Commodore in the
Right.
background. And sooner or later, that obviously it eats at his conscience. Nucky had asked for it previously, and they really pointedly took that episode.
And
of
he
that scene.
protected him, and he said, "Not now, and
Yeah.
now's the time."
Yes.
And now is it.
But he realizes his history with the Commodore is fucked. And he taps out.
Yeah, totally. He's tapped out.
Knowing that it's horrible and I'm a bad person, I gotta get out
And
of
he
this.
puts Nucky in.
That's what...
Nucky won.
But I'm saying, to make that realization that I'm doing a horrible thing, now I'm going to hand it off to this kid? He brought him to the doorstep of the devil.
Right.
Why did he do that?
Because he was asked to. He was asked to.
he wasn't at...
Yes,
he was
he
asked by
was.
Nucky to do it.
Nucky
yes.
asked him to. He said, "Bring me to the doorstep of hell." Right? He asked him in
Yes,
two
no,
episodes
he
ago.
did.
Said the things you
Clearly.
do for the
did.
Commodore. I mean, Nucky
Of course.
knows something's not right.
Well, yeah. He's
But-
totally... Yeah, he's in the know.
If he doesn't know what it is, he knows it. He knows this guy's a criminal and a creep.
I just think...
I mean, I
think
don't know that...
Lindsay's-
I don't know that Nucky knew he was going to the place
Right.
that he went.
No.
But I don't think it mattered at that point. I think he was so power hungry at that age.
Yeah, I agree.
That, and you know what? You know what I loved
You're
about
in
the
for
scene?
a dollar. You're in for a dime. You're in for a dollar. I mean,
I just don't like the guy who finally saw the light is now bringing someone to
I
the
don't
slaughter.
even
That
finally
speaks-
saw the
that-
light. I
first
think
of-
he finally
that's why he
couldn't
walked
take
away.
it anymore.
Right.
Well,
Call
yeah,
it whatever you want. It's splitting hairs. I mean, he's out of it. He knows
but
he's fucked.
you can call it what you want. It's splitting hairs to think that someone else isn't going to take the job, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like me saying, I'm
literally
not, as a
led
lawyer, I'm not going
Dave
to
Nucky
defend.
to this
I'm
guy.
not going to defend this guy because I think he's guilty. No problem. The next lawyer in line will do it, right?
Right.
So he brings Nucky to the table because Nucky has specifically asked him for this. Take me into the web of whatever deceitful business the Commodore is in because I want to help. That is very paraphrasing.
Yeah, I think you're being
But that's
a
what he
little
said.
Pollyanna about it. B.
Well, no, I want the guy.
Ooh, first call out with a Pollyanna.
That's okay.
I like
Well,
that.
no, I mean,
I'll accept that. I'm saying that because I think he finally realized his badness and is stepping away from it, why would he then throw somebody else into it? I know he asked for it.
I don't agree
But-
that he's finally realizing his badness. I
Well, then
think
why
he's
did he
just a
walk away?
beaten man,
He's
and
done.
he's out.
But he's already this far into it.
You already
If-
said.
If he's beaten down, why not stick with it?
You already
What's the
said he's
difference?
tapping out.
He's just out.
He's out.
I mean,
I'm out.
I don't think
He
that
might have a suitcase full of hundreds. He might be like, fuck this.
Mm.
I'm not selling another
You
12-year-old
guys are
into
really
the
devoting a lot
slave
of
trade.
time. Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was significant. I was surprised that the guy who I thought was the only positive influence in Nucky's life that we saw would then serve him up to the devil.
Well, I'm not surprised one bit.
Neither am I.
These people are.
I thought the
despicable.
Commodore would go get him, not
No,
being taken to.
and I think it's symbolic that they did it the way they did it.
Yeah. Oh, I think in the story it makes sense.
I will give you the symbolism behind having him do it to kind of create that wrinkle, but I don't think there's anything more to it than look, I've done all this shitty stuff in my life. If you want to take it over, here you go. Here's your chance.
All right.
I'm
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I think
All right.
that's it.
All right. So Lindsay's a horrible dude.
Yeah. He's
Well,
just
Yeah, he was it's a
No, he
lipstick
is,
on a
though.
pig. I mean,
Obviously,
come
I'm just
on. Yeah, so he was nice and he had a nice family, to your point. He was never a good guy.
No.
He's
played
like
the part
Margaret.
well. He played the part.
Like
Yeah,
Margaret.
like Margaret. Played the part well.
So when we get into the house,
Ugh, God.
I thought it was kind of interesting. I don't know Why
I
this
didn't
caught
really
my-
get. I didn't really get it.
that it was Commodore was just moving into this big mansion. I thought that was interesting. I don't know why it was played off so.
Well, the mansion was
significant.
the house that,
Right, that he was always
that
in.
eventually Jillian had, and
Right. But like he was
that household symbolism.
he was moving
throughout the
in.
series.
Yeah.
Right.
He was moving in and had the all the stuff in crates, and Nucky walks by and I thought that was weird. Like he was entering the lion's den, right?
Yeah.
And then he's asked to take this young girl home by the Commodore. Super creepy Commodore coming out, putting his suspenders on and whatever. Take this girl home. Tell the mom there's no more money coming home. And the mom should not ask any more questions.
Wow.
So this sets up, what I loved about this scene is this sets up Jillian.
Oh, yes. I mean,
150%, right?
Yeah.
So you've got...
The whole show has been setting up Jillian.
Right,
I mean,
but-
Jesus, it's the worst kept secret of the season
Right.
that this is going to be the climax.
Well, it's not even a kept secret. 'Cause
It's not
Right,
even
it
kept
was-
secret,
it was-
because everyone knows that Jimmy Darmody was
Right.
the
So,
Commodore's
I
son,
mean,
right?
yes.
But this
Darmody's Fred
really, it really lines up the stars with Nucky basically delivering Jillian
Right.
to the Commodore, and that's how this is going to totally play out.
Right. So
In one of the saddest things that I've ever heard.
I'm not going to wait till the end because we all know Creep of the Week, Commodore.
Oh, yeah. It's like-
Right?
Creep of the season.
Creep of the Week, Creep of the season, Creep of the
fucking
century, Creep of the 1800s, Commodore.
Thank you.
Well, 1885
Yeah.
to 1930,
True,
Creep
yeah.
of the whatever. So let's talk about Torrio, Luciano, and Lansky.
Yeah.
What?
I thought it was very cool because the whole time, I mean, we talked about it last week,
Yeah.
was that Torrio is sort of retired, but
I
he's not
can't even
retired.
believe
He's out of
Torrio
it.
is still in the
I know.
show.
Neither can Lansky and Luciano.
Right.
They're
They're
done
like,
with this old
I
guy.
can't believe they let him hang
Yeah.
around.
They want him, whatever value he gives, but once they get what they want, he's done.
Yeah.
They discard him like nothing. So they're talking about, and I love it when Lucky Luciano talks about icing people. That's my favorite
We're gonna ice.
name and
Hey, we're gonna put this guy in ice.
yeah. Let's ice him.
Let's ice him.
So you're talking about icing Nucky, basically.
Yeah.
And they even talk. Lucky mentions, hey, let's get one of the Vanderbilt girls to the Vanderbilt broads to ice him.
Yeah. The Vanderbilt.
Get the Vanderbilts to ice him. So they're talking about getting rid of Marzano in this particular segment.
Scenario, right.
They are so pissed off at Bugsy Siegel. We talked about that. When they are meeting with Torrio, and Torrio's trying to say, I'm the guy who's going to broker this
right.
big meeting between
He's
all the
always the
Italian
broker,
families, right?
Yeah.
And, I'll make the calls. I'll talk to effectively the head of the five families,
Right.
New York and Philly and Pittsburgh and at this point Chicago. I'll make the calls, and they're like, "Nah, we got this. We'll take care of it, old man.
Right.
You're done." And Torrio doesn't realize that he's out.
Right.
His services are no longer needed.
Right.
Super interesting because it is the young guys taking over.
Yes. I
Totally.
mean, clearly, Charlie's a man here.
And here's the thing on Torrio. I mean, the history on Torrio, he's a guy who lived for a long time. I mean, he really, he kind of toiled in anonymity later on in his life after he went to jail at some point in the 30s for tax evasion.
Well, I
Same
think
thing,
all
they got
these
him off.
guys lived to like they're in their 70s and 80s. I mean, Lansky and Torrio, and I think Luciano. I forget.
Yeah,
who's
Luciano
deal.
did too.
Yeah,
And the only one who didn't live as long was probably Benny Siegel.
yeah, I think so.
And that was because of the failed misgivings in Vegas. I mean,
Well, yeah, and he
Yes.
went out west, right?
right.
Yeah.
But Torrio, the fact that we're kind of hemming and hawing, it's like, how is Torrio still hanging around? How is Torrio still hanging around? Well, because he did,
Yeah,
right? I mean, this
Yeah.
is they are taking liberties with a lot of these historical
Certainly.
moments,
Not a lot, actually.
but not a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
right.
mean, they're trying to stick true to the story.
well, and
So-
even in that special that aired this week, the behind the
right.
getting ready for the finale of Boardwalk Empire, they talk about Torrio was retired, but he kept cropping up here and there in news stories once in a while. His name was still there. He was still kind of sort of involved.
He was a guy who
So they
hung
ran
around.
with that.
Yeah.
He was in Boardwalk Empire. He was behind all of the
So like a Hyman
involved.
Roth,
Right.
sort of
he was
like
he was involved
conciliary-
with
yeah.
Well, what and then
Consigliere.
Consigliere.
Very
Yeah.
good. Perfect. That's what he was.
And what he also did was he got himself involved in multiple legitimate businesses.
Yep.
So he was a relevant player in not only the crime syndicate, but he was a relevant player in the business industry too, because he did keep them separate, and he did manage to kind of toe that line. And he had some illegal misgivings, but he kept it completely separate from his legitimate enterprises, some of which involved alcohol.
Yeah.
But he tried to run it on the up and up, and I think it was that he got to a point in the late 20s, early 30s where he was 50 years old, which at the time was old, right?
Ancient, yeah.
And 45, 50 years old. And he had realized that his time of being a guy who would put a gun to someone's head was over.
Right.
And he...
Yep.
I like the way that they're playing this out with Torrio because of the fact that you can kind of see him slowly weaning away, right?
Well, he's been doing that for several episodes where he's pulling the old, I'm just an old man.
Yep.
Right.
You know.
Now,
That's by design.
let's get to that in a second, because there's a great visual scene that sort of illustrates that he's sort of in the background fading away.
Totally, yeah.
But we can't get to that until we come to the crux of this episode.
Right.
And this is the meeting out in the sticks between Nucky and Eli and their crew with our man Mickey.
Mickey.
And Lucky
Bye.
and Lansky and
So long,
whoever.
Mickey.
Yeah. So,
Disappointing.
hang on. One thing I want to talk about, because it was funny, it was a Mickey Doyle moment.
Can I get 5% in run of the club?
Right before that. Pause. I've got it.
Coming back and
When they're
3.
literally
Hang on.
standing there.
So they're in the burlesque club, Nucky's club, and Bugsy Siegel is singing his bullshit dirty songs
Yeah,
up in
the pussy song.
the rafters, and Archie goes up and knocks him out, whatever. Nucky and Mickey are just standing there like, they're both kind of laughing like, you fucking believe this? Or we're still here. We're still together. I'm here with you.
Right.
Right.
Me, Nucky, I'm with Mickey
You,
fucking
Mickey.
Doyle.
Yeah.
And they both kind of do the laugh.
Well, that
and-
was a sort of like, look how far I've fallen. Yeah.
And-
This
Yeah.
ain't no Ritz
A,
Carlton.
why are you the guy who's still with me?
Right.
But B, like, yeah, I'm
He
here.
could have been there with
we
anybody.
go.
Shitty
He
club,
could have been there with
too.
anybody.
Remember when he was in the finery of the...
Yeah.
What's it, Four Seasons?
Same
or the
thing,
Ritz?
same
Yeah.
thing, right? So that's a little bit of a, maybe not foreshadowing, but a little bit of a hint toward what happens at the meeting. So they are meeting out in the sticks somewhere. Some
Right, it's a typical
Roadside
gangster
gangster
moment.
moment.
You know,
Very
5
classic.
on 5, yeah, let's do
cars,
this.
5 cars.
bunch of guys,
20 guys,
bunch of
20
cars,
Headlights in the
headlights,
night. Yeah,
guys in front, very
Tommy guns.
A lot of Tommy guns.
We
a
got
lot
it,
of
yeah.
rifles.
very prohibition, right? Or
Yeah.
nearly. So they're meeting in the sticks.
But clearly, Lucky is the stronger,
Right.
the stronger opponent.
He doesn't even get out of his car for a while. Nucky and his boys are sitting out there with their fucking dicks in their
Love
hands.
Right,
that.
Hey,
exactly.
what are we doing here?
Love that play.
Then Mickey chimes in. Mickey wants to get out of there, like, fuck this, I'm out of here. And real or not, Nucky says, well, stick around. Well, what else you got to do? What can I do to make you stick around?
Give me
And
5% of the club.
Mickey says, give me the
5%.
club, clear out, and 5% of everything. And Nucky's like,
Okay.
all right.
And he didn't
What the
think
hell was that?
Yeah.
That was Nucky. Just he was done right there already. You knew he was
Yeah, he
over.
was out.
Oh, I
Right.
knew well before that. Nucky was just done.
I didn't think he would give up everything at a drop of a hat, though.
He gave up everything he got on his goddamn knees,
Right.
Brendan.
Well, but at that moment,
We're
you
getting
didn't
to
know.
this.
Well-
Yeah.
So they try to do the exchange for Benny, and Benny versus Will. You give me yours, I'll give you mine. As they're crossing across the classic divide there, Benny limps and kind of plays lame. He punches out Will and pushes Will back into
Lucky.
the bad guys.
Yeah.
Right.
So they've got what they wanted, and they've got Will.
By the way, they're
They've got
all
everything
bad
they wanted.
guys.
I know, but
Okay.
in
So
this
I
scenario-
have to say, in this
Yeah.
exchange right there, in that moment, That obviously played out with drama so that Nucky could try to get his last bargaining chip,
Yep.
which was saying that he could deliver
Yep.
Maranzano.
Yep.
And I get that dramatically.
Yep.
But at the end of the exchange, I have to ask, why did they let him live?
Maranzano. That's it. Nucky can risk his life trying to kill Maranzano. It doesn't hurt them at all. If he does, great. They benefit even more.
Right, and they took Will, and they
If he
said,
doesn't-
we'll deliver Will after the deed
Yeah.
is done, which they end up handling, but I can't believe they were ever going to hand Will back.
They
would
probably
ever
weren't.
release
They
him,
probably weren't.
You know?
I'm not
Anyway,
even sure.
I just found
I'm
that
not
to
sure
be
why
a
they
little-
did.
I'm not sure why they did either. That's
Yeah.
my whole point.
Why
I
even
don't
do
know
it?
why
They
did
should
they
have
do
killed
it.
him after Maranzano was killed.
I don't know why they would bother
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway.
They had all the cards. I don't know why they.
Right. Why were they trying to be nice to give something back to Nucky? They wanted to kill Nucky anyway. Who cares?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I found the whole thing odd. But to talk about
Dramatic interpretation.
exactly to
and-
talk about
yeah.
Eli and they're posing as feds, that was pretty funny.
I
Well-
like that. I like the fact that they came in on the income tax.
Let's not gloss over the death of
Mickey Doyle.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm
Like,
sorry.
God rest
Five-
Mickey's soul.
All right,
Mickey-
fine.
Quality kill of the week.
in this. No. He's
No,
not.
he's not.
He is not quality kill of the week. I don't care what you say.
No, but
He may be sentimental kill of the week.
right, but not quality.
We'll give that. He's such a cockroach that during the fucking exchange, he's literally standing in between Nucky and Lucky, the Italians, and Nucky Johnson.
Johnson.
He says, guys, if you have the club, great. Can I just run it? I've run this club for 7
know,
years.
he's already turned
Let me
pony.
just do it.
He was already negotiating.
This is between you guys, not me. I'm not involved in
I'm
this.
out.
I'll run the club.
Boom.
And Lucky's like, fuck you. Bang.
Wow.
Done. Fantastic.
Yeah,
It
that
all
was
comes to
that
a
was a
dramatic
great.
quick-
He died the way he should have died.
Yes, exactly. Under
Maybe-
the exact circumstances
Yeah.
for Mickey.
Maybe the
Doyle.
biggest cockroach in the history of the series, right?
Yeah.
Definitely a guy who
He
got
lived
Not
the
maybe.
entire way, was a little...
He was a leech.
He was a leech.
Yeah,
Perfect.
he was a
Perfect.
leech.
It was great.
Yeah, that was
So
sweet.
it was
He's
kind
a
of poetic justice. for
Fan
Mickey.
favorite who lost his life in the second to last episode. He came to life in the first episode of the series.
Yes, he was around in the beginning.
Who would have saw that coming? Not me.
I thought Richard Harrow would have lasted the whole series.
Right. Another guy who lost his life in the brief shootout in the meeting was Archimedes.
Yes,
Yeah.
was
Archie.
Archie. Yeah,
I want to see that. I like that little
I know you do.
character.
That crazy kid.
Super small role, says nothing. I like his little thing.
Well, he lent a certain air to
I know.
this.
Yeah,
this
it
season.
was fine, but I'm like, oh man. I
No,
like
it was
that
a
guy.
great arc, and he really played a pivotal role without having any lines. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like he was one of those characters who you were always waiting to see what would happen next with him.
Right.
And he
Instead
was
of
involved
instead
in
of Libyans, he was a
Libyans,
Cuban.
And he was always lit in a lighter color than everyone else.
Well, that's the
See,
Cuban
yeah.
thing is to wear
white.
whites.
Oh yeah,
Wear
right,
light
right.
Pastels and whites.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely didn't notice that.
Yeah, he was always in
Very good.
a lighter.
I bet you didn't notice Oscar De La Renta died this weekend. Bitch.
I noticed. Didn't
And he
care.
mourned.
No.
He noticed and he
Super,
and he mourned.
super not interested.
He mourned for the time that he had reading that.
Yeah.
Time that he
So
lost reading that.
Nucky volunteers to give up everything he has to Luciano and his crew.
Yeah, he rolls
for
on
Will.
everything.
I'll give it all up. Fine.
Everything.
Because in the back of his mind, he knows
He ain't giving up
he's going to
shit.
screw Kennedy, and he's going to make money off of
Yeah.
that deal with those 100,000 shares or whatever.
Or
is on
more.
it.
Well, yeah, and it's his exit strategy.
Right.
Right.
He's got that in his back pocket. It's
This is
going
the
to
way
happen.
out of the game.
It's already set.
Yeah.
I'll give up all this bullshit just to get Will back. Fine.
Way
family,
out of
family,
the
family.
game. I win by being the bigger man for giving up
Right.
my business for.
Right.
Right. They tentatively agree to that, and then Lansky says, "Get on your knees,"
Yeah, that was just.
because
Humiliating.
Lucky had Lansky on his knees once or twice in the past,
Mm-hmm.
in a similar situation, gun to his head, asking him for information and
That's true.
messing with him. So Lansky wanted his pound of flesh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
And he got it.
And they're about to kill Nucky. Mm-hmm. Luciano's about to do it because they say Benny, our man Bugsy, who is irrational to the T, says, kill them all and take everything. Who cares? You've got it all.
Right.
Kill everybody.
At that point, I was almost like...
He's probably right. Yeah, why bargain? You can just kill them and take it.
I found that to be...
Luciano is about to. Nucky says, wait. I will take out Maranzano for you.
Right.
On the condition that you give us Will. Lucky hems and haws and says, okay, fine. We'll do that, but I'm not giving you Will until Maranzano's done.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Crazy.
But it was a smart play by Nucky.
Of course.
And it was a smart play by Luciano.
Of course, the only
to take
play he had.
Yeah.
But it was a smart play by Luciano to accept the deal.
Of course, because there was no blood on his
Yeah,
hand.
no blood, no worries.
And then, so Lucky Luciano's line that I liked a little bit wasn't super profound, but he said, if you deliver, we'll deliver. Which is great, but I didn't believe that for a second. I was surprised they would do that.
But he had no other choice. It was his only play.
And at the very end, nice little shot of Nucky and Eli literally side by side, shoulder to shoulder, like, what did you just do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. The two brothers surviving and like, let's get our asses out of here and let's figure this out.
Let's get home. Yeah.
Then we see a little snippet, on purpose, of course, of the FBI getting the warrant or the
the moment where they're getting the warrant for the arrest of Capone. So obviously that's going to happen next week.
Smash cut to FBI-like guys issuing a warrant to get somebody. Oh wait, it's Maranzano, not Capone. Little misdirection. They go in there and they stab Maranzano. I don't know, 3,000 times. With the knife.
Which is
amazing.
Which was actually the quality
kill
of the week.
Right.
Yeah.
It was historically accurate. It wasn't
Bugsy.
Luciano.
It was Bugsy Siegel that killed him.
Bugsy.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the right guys, but it was the right method.
Right.
And it was reminiscent because Maranzano was so historically oriented. I think he talked a lot about Caesar.
Right, it was about the Romans.
It was all about the Romans. It was all about the Romans.
So he was killed in a Roman way.
Yeah, he was killed when he was stabbed.
Right?
As
Caesar
Brute.
was. Right?
At two Brute.
Yeah. So that was very interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, so...
We love the Italians on this show.
I guess we have no choice. I mean, they're all Italian.
And then after, we did go back to Harper where Nucky does tell him to go start a new life. He gives him $1,000, tells him to go on his way.
He says, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
Basically, like, do something else. Don't live this life.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's just a indicator that, of course, he's going to be in the next show because something's going to happen next week and he will be involved.
I guess so. I don't have a feel for Joel's little role in this last episode.
I think you're going to find out next week.
Apparently. He gets rid of him, and so this is my take on the episode, the season, and maybe the series.
Well, the only other scene we have for the rest of the show is Jillian, right?
Right.
The fact that Nucky opens the letter
that's
from
important.
Jillian.
Yeah, that's very important.
And he, he's going to take the bait, and this is going to be his last chance at redemption. So he's going
He finds her letter almost, it seemed like by accident or something. Like on his nightstand or like in the corner. It was just
revolving in his head the way they had it narrating over on a loop, on a loop, on a loop, on a loop. So, I mean, there's no doubt. Between that and the flashbacks, this is obviously where we're going to go.
So he's going to get Jillian, right?
No doubt. She says, you need to help me. You're my last chance.
Yeah, he's going to get her.
He's going to do it. It's the only...
Well, here's why. He's the one who sold her into the sex slave trade. Right?
That's what I'm saying. It's his last shot at redemption.
He's going to get her. Here's where I have a philosophical problem with this week's episode.
Oh.
It's 1 hour.
Oh, I know.
I thought they might make it longer.
I thought they would make it at least an hour. Like, look, I mean, I don't know if you guys watch Sons of Anarchy, but that's like every episode's been an hour 15, an hour 20.
Sons of bitches, this finale should be 3 hours.
This finale should be 8 hours to get it really done right. But we're only going to get an hour, and I'm frustrated by the fact that...
I'm frustrated. Super frustrated.
I don't think we're going to get... I think we're going to get conclusions. I don't think they're going to be satisfactory to my liking. How's
See,
that?
now
I don't
last
know.
week you said that this was going to be a finite conclusion. There would be no sopranoing going to black. That
We
everything
knew.
would be
I'm
wrapped
starting
up.
to disagree with myself on that.
Okay.
A little bit.
A few podcast episodes ago, we knew a lot of things, most things, would come to a head in the second to last episode. We've basically gotten
Penultimate
there,
episode,
right? The final episode is the icing on the cake to finish it off.
I think Nucky might bite it at the end.
No way.
No, he doesn't.
I mean, but those theories are out there. We have to remember this is not Nucky Johnson. It's Nucky
not.
Thompson.
It's
Inspired by
Nucky.
It's Nucky and
It's Nucky
vernacular.
Johnson.
It's both Chalky and Nucky and Johnson and Thompson. So do the math.
Chuckanunka Thompson.
I don't know. I mean, the closer... I didn't think that in the beginning of the season, but the closer I get to this, the more I think that this might be a deathbed scenario.
I don't think so. Because here's
He
what
and Margaret are going to ride off in the sun.
No.
Wait.
What are their predictions, Michael?
Wait. Before we get to the predictions.
Oh, yes.
And we are all going to have some, and let's do that. But so we've done Creep of the Week, Commodore. Kill of the quality kill was Maranzano with the stabbing. Got to be, right? No other kill of the week.
Yeah, that was
quality kill.
Yeah, that was
It was
pretty epic.
people got shot, but nobody had the impact of the Maranzano
right.
stab.
The Julius Caesar.
Right? Julius Caesar.
Oh, do you have an analogy for us?
No great analogy, except I have a bow to maybe put on this episode, this season, and this series as a whole.
You do.
Whoa.
It's Boardwalk Empire. It's about Nucky. It's obviously his life and times, right? I mean, I think that's even the I'm paraphrasing the tagline of the actual book. It's like life and times of whatever.
Johnson, right?
Yeah. To me, and this episode cinched it for me. This is essentially the redemption of Enoch Thompson.
Yeah.
The whole thing is geared toward him redeeming his bad life. He had some good stuff in the beginning. He's had some shitty stuff in the middle. At the end, he's going to redeem himself with Jillian and Joel and whoever. He's trying to get people out of this badness.
All right.
do you think?
I will say this. Maybe,
He's going to save Jillian.
but listen to me.
He kind of maybe potentially saved Joel. He saved Will. It's the redemption of Nucky Thompson.
I think the season's been about Nucky Thompson's quest for redemption.
Right?
I don't know that he will get it.
You don't think so in the finale?
Well, here's what I think. Somebody might sell you that in the last episode,
I'm selling that.
but I'm not buying.
Why?
There is no redemption for Nucky.
Yeah, it's too late. It's too late.
Okay, so
I'm not saying actual redemption in his own mind.
But
he's helping others.
But
too.
the
I think
11th
everything
hour.
he's done this season is a prevent to redeem himself.
But
he is trying to get there.
Bullshit. It's not. He's not at all.
It's
He's
what's been
course he
motivating
is.
him.
what's been motivating
He
him.
thinks he is.
He thinks he is.
He's
thinks
got
he's
Benny
doing the right
Siegel tied to a fucking chair, and you guys are telling me this is a guy who's looking for redemption.
Yes.
He's shorting stock so he can fuck over Joe Kennedy, which I totally
But
applaud.
this is the
But
convoluted
take the next step. Why?
because he's doing something.
Well, he feels like
believes
he's doing
the
something.
ends justify the
He's
means.
trying to short the stock on this
Kennedy
company
deal, so because he has other purposes.
to make money and get his ass out of the gangster business. Maybe.
Right, but that's not redemption. That's a change of course.
See, and I would argue
no,
that he's
it's
shorting
not
that
pure.
stock as a vengeful thing against Joe
Of course,
Kennedy.
of course.
And like I said, I'm all for that.
Oh,
We
Anytime you
know
can
that.
fuck over a Kennedy, do it.
We are
it.
coloring in gray. It is definitely not black and white. I mean,
No.
we're
I would-
Maybe that's what it's leading to is this philosophical moment that we're
Right.
going to see Nucky fade to black at the end of the series, and he's going to be this guy who's got this faint smile on his face because he knows he got Jillian out of the nut house,
Oh,
even though
no,
he sold her into sex slavery.
No. God help us.
40
if that
years earlier.
happened.
Right, no, but this could be the end. It could be. And I won't disagree with it that this is the way it could play out.
Mm-hmm.
What I will say is that, to me, I'd rather see him take 2 fucking bullets in the back of the head than have it end that way. Because that wouldn't be...
I think it might. I think he might.
And I don't think...
I don't think so.
I don't think Scorsese would appreciate an ending where it gets wrapped up in that kind of a nice bow. I do see him wrapping things in a bow, but they're bows that are covered in fucking blood.
Right.
I love you guys with the goddamn bows.
And that's fine. I like that. But I don't want to see this Nucky, holding a baby or kissing a baby.
No. It won't be that simple.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I think he gets... How about this? He...
Personal redemption?
Gave Jillian into this horrible world, the Commodore. He gets her out. As he's getting her out, she gets killed. She gets killed. He lives with Margaret with their money from Kennedy.
Oh,
in some way.
God, you are...
They're almost an also ran in this finale at the end.
I think that's... I can't wait to see, B. I can't wait to see. I don't think you're right.
Although, as I'm saying that, if that happens, who the fuck else is left? What am I talking about here? There's no
Nobody.
more... There's no more...
Eli?
Eli, fine.
Baby number 9.
Joel. Joel comes to power. No.
Put him on ice.
I think...
I'll put him on ice.
I think there is something to these things in the ether that Joel's going to be the one that puts Nucky down.
Oh!
Wow.
Go down that path for a second.
Let's go down there.
How does that happen?
Jillian's lineage is going to finally have their revenge for what he has done to them. And he is going to be the instrument of vengeance.
Jillian's grandson, Tommy Darmody's son.
Jimmy's
son, Tommy,
is going to be the
takes
one.
out Nucky.
Yep.
I like that better
I
than
love that.
anything I've
And
heard
I
so
think
far.
that gun and the get out of here may drive him to Luciano.
Tommy Darmody goes to Lucky's side.
I don't know about that, but I just have a feeling there's something Shakespearean about
I'm okay with that.
It being revealed that that's who he is.
I will buy into that.
And
you
that
turn
Nucky
me.
goes down.
Sure. Yes. I like that. I'm in.
Okay, yeah, I'm good
I'm
with
in.
that.
What happens to Margaret?
Margaret. She rides off into the sunset. I will say
I
this
think
about
so.
her.
I think so.
She is definitely going to be the one person
think
at the
she
end of the
survives.
show where
I
she
actually
survives.
think that might be kind of funny, actually, if she ends up counting Kennedy's
Well,
money.
she'll be sitting there.
I
and
think
she'll be
it's
counting
good.
those coins.
Yeah.
I
do
think
like
that's
that.
very good.
Yeah.
I would actually like to see that. I would find satisfaction.
Yeah. I want her to be on top
You know what I'd
regardless
love
of
to see
the
her?
details.
Is fuck Nucky out of those 100,000 short shares.
Yeah.
I would like to see her pull a godmother.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be
There's
sweet.
a lot of opportunity in the
Bring
60
it.
minutes. The thing, as I said before, that bothers me is that it's 60 minutes. Give us an hour and a half. Give us 2 hours.
Well, at least we know it'll be action-packed.
Well, I mean, I have been through these last 3 episodes. It's like, don't blink.
The one before this was like,
Now-
there was so much happening.
Oh, yeah,
I couldn't even...
that was the one you were in
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
This character has not been said this entire time we've been talking. Still out there.
Narcisse.
Nice Narcisse.
Yeah.
Does he play a role?
You know what? I sort of feel like that
I think
kid in the
I think
alley,
he's done. I think he's done.
I mean, just like we talked about, I know you guys didn't necessarily agree with me at the time, but remember when there was talk about Luciano came in, they shot up the place and blah, 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 and if you remember, my contention was, it's done. They're never going to go in that, they can't be.
I think he's done.
He's a king in that neighborhood.
I think he's done.
He can't be
He
touched.
does his own thing, but he's in this story, he's done.
He's in
This-
Harlem.
yeah.
And that's the
I
end
think-
of that.
Yeah.
I think
He's
it was
never going to get any bigger than that.
Right.
Look, it was very apropos that when
think so.
he walked away from Chalky,
That was
Before his
awesome.
henchmen
That
did
was
it.
that was probably
They
the
showed
best
him-
ending they've had of any storyline. The
They
way
showed
Chalky
him-
just resigned. He knew he was dead.
Well, he knew he was
man.
dead. But they showed him walking up the alley towards the street.
Yeah.
And it was almost a fade to black moment, right? I mean, they didn't fade it because they turned back
No,
to
but it
Chalky.
was.
But it was a
was,
fade to
yeah.
black moment in that was the end of Narcisse.
Oh yeah, that was very good.
I don't think we get Narcisse at all. I don't think we get Narcisse at all.
No, I don't think we do either. But it's something to
No,
consider.
he's done. I think we said goodbye to Narcisse.
And I think we've also said goodbye to Capone.
No.
No.
No,
No.
Disagree.
See, I think in the
Capone gets arrested next
in the
week.
previews you see that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
No.
I was thinking, seeing the warrants being issued, he was done. It was obvious.
No,
But
it's going to be the...
right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, there's going to be a
You got to see the.
Chicago.
Well, this is
Yeah.
finally teeing us up for a massive 8-minute arc of Elliot Ness. And
Yeah, I want to see a little bit of Ness.
And
Give me a little bit of
actually,
Ness.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised.
Please.
I would not be surprised if in Capone's arrest,
Yeah,
Will gets tied
Right.
into
There's
that
a tie to
story.
that.
got to has to, right?
I don't know, though. That's a long stretch from
He went
Chicago
back to work. He went
But
back
it's
to
New
work
York,
the
but he-
second he got out of...
Right, but he went back to his desk, cleaned the blood off his collar, and he went back to work. But he's in New York.
Will's
This is happening in Chicago.
Yeah, he's not in the same district.
That's
he's not in the
different district.
same.
I don't know, though. Something feels like why... I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but I feel like there could be something there.
I like
Different
that.
district. They're
But
different.
it's a federal...
Yeah, but he's not a federal guy, is
He's
he?
not? I think
No,
He's not working for the
state's
Attorney General.
He's
He's
the
working for the state.
regional
Okay.
guy.
Yeah, so he's region.
I love the idea of Ness. Yeah, Ness has to do
I
something.
think we get a
A little bit.
low level 7-8 minutes of Elliot Ness tied to
Yep.
Al Capone, and then that's tied up in a nice little bow with Capone going to jail, right?
Yeah. To get to
I want to see Nucky.
We're gonna
I
get
wanna
more
see
Jillian
Luciano.
this
I want
week
to
than
see
we
Jillian.
absolutely need.
I want to see Joel.
Jillian is the Shakespearean moment.
Totally, yeah. I mean, without
This
question.
is the... What
This is
the
the-
Richard the Third, is that it?
Yeah, this is the Richard III. So I mean,
Is
I'm
that
excited
right?
for
Richard
it.
the Third?
Yeah, it's Richard III, isn't it?
I didn't
Yeah,
study
alright.
that bullshit. so
Anyways,
I don't know.
I think this is we're
You probably love it.
you would love it.
I'm just saying that's outside of my wheelhouse.
We're coming to a dramatic close here. It should be interesting, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the last.
I am too.
The
I
last
am.
podcast, we're hoping to have a full house of potentially 5 people, maybe more.
Round table.
I'm thinking we do.
Capos of the round table.
I think
right.
we'll have a more, the 3 core people here
Mm-hmm.
will, review the episode, and then we'll have our guests, weigh in.
Maybe
on
we'll do a
some-
Q&A with our guests.
Yeah.
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 You know,
And
Talk
I
to
think
them about-
we'll center it around, what they wish might have happened. Were they happy with the ending?
Final episode may be a big one. We may cut it into 2 parts depending on how things shake out. We'll see. But this is going to be a major final episode to what I'm going to call a masterpiece of TV. I'm blown away by this whole thing because of the complexity, the number of characters, the intertwining of stories, the usage of history versus fiction, and
It has been
It's
extremely
amazing.
ambitious. I will give you that. I will say that I do feel, and as much as I love the show, there's been some problems with the way they've structured. Now Nucky, he starts this,
Yes.
he starts up, he starts down. It's like he can't decide what he wants to be when he grows up. I mean, and he kind of ended up not even becoming about Nucky at a certain point anymore. So
given where we are, I'm
It's-
going to trust Terrence Winter on that structure. And
I have
given
no doubt that he's going to
that it's
wrap
on
it up
purpose.
knowing that the
No, but
show's
I think-
ending.
I'm
But
saying
even looking backwards,
It
there's
was
value in the
purposeful.
way it's been done. There is
it's
purpose
been a
to
great
it.
show. Great show.
because it does have those characters that some of them are more interesting and have more history than Nucky.
Right,
You
and
had to-
Nucky at a certain point just became sort of
Yeah.
like the vehicle to get to see.
You had to
everything
take
else
those
that
Yeah,
left turns.
yeah, he totally became he became the vessel for the Capone storyline and the
Yeah, all these other
Luciano
stories.
storyline
Yeah.
and Torrio storyline and all those It's interesting how they all tie back to Atlantic City, and I don't know if that's real or not, or if that really
Well,
happened.
I would imagine it is real.
I think most of it is reasonably real.
Yep.
I'm
those
sure
patterns happen for...
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, that was just the history of Prohibition.
It's
right?
amazing that
Well, it's more about, I'm sure, about being a port city and access
Sure.
to New York.
many
but
of
not
the
being
things
New York and-
in this story that you don't believe are real were real, and it's impressive. I mean, it's
They're going to take me to see the diving
love it.
horses. The diving horses are real, by
I
the way.
love that. I know. All right.
All right, end it.
For this episode, we are done. We will see you for one more episode. Put that down.
Slide.
Till then, slancha.
Slancha. Salud.
Thank you for listening to Boardwalk Breakdown, and follow us on Twitter at Boardwalk Break.